Hi, welcome to 1640. I'm your host, Robert Hughes, the Startup Alchemist, and today we have Mike from Napspin. He's going to have 1,640 seconds to tell me and you about what he's building. Let's get after it. Welcome to 1640.
Thank you.
We're going to do a 20-second elevator pitch. If that goes well, we're going to go for a 4-minute walk outside, learn more about your company, and hopefully it's not too cold out. We can come back in and do a 20-minute sit down and dig into what you're building.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
All right, let's get going.
All right, great.
All right.
I'm Mike, and I'm the founder of Napspin. At Napspin, we created a machine that rolls silverware into a napkin and seals it up with a custom band. We're selling it to restaurants, pubs, diners, hospitals, universities, anyone that gives out utensils for food.
It sounds awesome. Can't wait to learn more about that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's go.
Body.
All right, Mike, so Napspin, you're helping restaurants cut down the time and cost for wrapping their utensils and cutlery and all that. They're loving it. How did you come up with this idea, and who are you building it with?
So yeah, my brother, he actually spent about 15 years in the restaurant industry.
Okay.
He started off as a busboy, worked his way up to manager. And he had always said, I wish that there was a machine that could do this monotonous task that is done usually at the end of the night when workers want to maybe go out or go home to see their family. They have to sit down and roll sometimes hundreds of roll-ups up. And he always said, I wish that there was a machine that could do this. And one year for Christmas, I gave him 40 hours of my work because I did mechanical engineering to see if he was onto something, start prototyping, start designing. And eventually we got a working prototype going. And he said, I'm offering to pay you to do this full time.
Wow.
And we, since then, have had great success in restaurants, diners, and even hospitals. So basically the whole food service industry is our target customer.
Yeah.
Anyone that puts a knife, fork, and spoon inside of a napkin and sends it out to a customer or a patient is who we designed it for.
It's incredible. It's sort of the marriage of things that I think work well and I have a bias towards, which are strong relationships between founders, like existing strong relationships, and industry expertise going into verticals. So his 15 years in hospitality, your training as a mechanical engineer really set you guys up for success in understanding the problem and the people you were solving it for, and then creating a solution that had was immediately applicable to that industry. Yeah, that's really interesting. What's the feedback been like from owners of these restaurants and these hospitals? And I know it sounds like anybody in hospitality that has utensils is likely to want to opt for your solution versus paying workers hours and hours and hours to do the same task.
Exactly. We can save a restaurant or a diner or a pub thousands of dollars a year, and someone big like a hospital or a university, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
It's incredible. Are you doing anything to track the morale of the workers as a result of not having to waste their time on these mundane tasks?
Yes, they love it.
They love it. Okay.
People are jaw dropped when they find out that we pulled this off, because we hear that restaurant workers even have nightmares about rolling silverware.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're taking away like this it's not a so obvious traumatic experience that they have in their day-to-day lives of doing this thing that they loathe. That's actually the promise of, like, in my mind, of automation and robotics. It's replacing the mundane work that we really shouldn't be doing anymore with a machine that can take care of that, so we're not wasting our years on things that don't occupy our minds.
Entirely, because these servers, they're trained to serve. They're people.
Yes.
They have certain skills that are applicable to the restaurant, and rolling silverware is something that, almost anyone can do.
Yeah.
So it takes away from their certain set of skills, and, a lot of times it's during a busy hour or during a rush that they have to do this, so it actually takes attention away from the people dining in the restaurants.
Oh, wow. So it has a knock-on effect. It's not only affecting the workers, it's affecting the service, which affects the reputation of the institution.
Exactly.
All
the way to, how much is tipped on the meal. because if the server's there and they can attend to you right away, then you're gonna have a better experience in the restaurant.
Yeah, that's incredible. So full circle, so your brother and you start this company, you're in a space that you understand really well. How did you start acquiring customers? Were you knocking door to door? Did you have some warm intros from your brother's 15 years in the space? Like, how did that begin?
We were lucky because of his background that he knew that this was gonna be a hit because of all the experience he had actually rolling and knowing how monotonous it was.
Yeah.
So we started off cold calling restaurants, making sure that we were onto something, asking them, would you be interested in replacing the work that your servers are doing with a machine?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. The biggest hit for us was we attended the New England Restaurant and Bar Show last year, and we were, as some people said, the star of the show.
That's awesome.
The whole entire 2 days, we had people lined up outside our booth waiting to talk to us. We had a machine going that they could see. And from there, we actually acquired a wait list of customers.
Incredible.
Because at that point, we were running a delivery service where we were actually selling roll-ups to the restaurants, specifically in Central Square.
Yeah.
And everyone said, when can I have this in my restaurant? When can I get one of these?
Wow.
So we actually we went full speed on the model that would be actually implemented in the restaurant.
That's incredible. Is that all those little proof points early on really give you the momentum or the courage to kind of like go for it? Yeah. Okay, so that was that go for it moment. We have to go try to do this.
Yeah, we knew, okay, we gotta kind of go pedal to the metal here and get these things out in restaurants. And we have one on Cape, we have one in Central Square, and we have an incredible demand right now, which is something that I'm really proud of.
Good. That's really good. I like how loud infinities are. Yeah, let's head inside. Good point. Let's head inside and get some warm. Let's get warm. This iced coffee is killing me. All right, Mike. You impressed me on the elevator. We braved the cold, and now we get to sit down together and enjoy some coffee. We've learned a little bit about what you're building, who you're building it for, who you're building it with. And now I'm super curious, what is Napspin? What does it look like how does it come to life in the real world?
So the big benefit to our technology is that it was designed to fit on a countertop.
Okay.
Or a table, an empty table in a restaurant. It's about 3 feet long, 2 feet wide, and 2 feet high.
Okay.
And all the user has to do is pull out a drawer, load the napkins in, take a cartridge out, put the silverware in, put the cartridge back in the machine, and we have a screen that you choose how many roll-ups you want completed.
Okay. How much does it weigh?
It weighs 45 pounds, I think.
Okay. So it's not super light, but it's not overly, it's not too heavy that it'll topple over.
Right, it's pretty portable. 2 people can move it around, no problem.
It's the weight of roughly of a good sized food challenge.
Yes, if we were hungry, for sure.
Okay, so it's easy for restaurants or hospitals or hotels or cruise ships to bring in, put into place, probably keep it in the same spot generally. Okay, and then they can run through how many of these, what do you call the units that it produces?
They're called roll-ups.
Okay, so how many roll-ups an hour is the Napspin able to do?
Right now we're at about 2 per minute,
Okay.
anticipating getting faster. It holds 50 knives, forks, and spoons, and 50 napkins. And the sticker band capacity is about 1,000.
Okay.
So you change out the napkins, knives, forks, and spoons every time, every cycle, and you change out the stickers about once a day for a really busy restaurant, maybe once every 2 days.
So instead of doing, this thing's probably just running continuously in the background. They just keep feeding, you'll keep loading it up with more napkins, more utensils, more stickers, and just keeps running around the clock.
Correct. Just like a washing machine or a dishwasher, it has a set it and forget it type vibe.
Okay. Are people buying multiple units to service their needs for the roll-ups?
We have sold a hospital 2 units to keep up with their demand. They do sometimes 2,000 roll-ups a day, which is the biggest we've ever seen. But generally a restaurant, diner, pub type capacity would just get 1 machine.
Where did you start? Like you said you have a mechanical engineering background. And I think you said you went to, or did you go to Northeastern? I believe we were talking about that. I went to Wentworth, so right next door.
Yeah.
So was there something in your training that allowed you to understand, here's how I can get this thing to roll up really efficiently, so I'm not creating a lot of processy inside of this. This is basically a robot. How do I do this efficiently so there's not too many moving parts and it's kind of an elegant design? Does it start off humongous? Did you work it down? I'm really curious in that design process.
So it started off with just how can we pick up a napkin? How can we pick up a knife, fork, and spoon?
Yeah.
How can we scrape the knife, fork, and spoon off what picked it up? I thought very, very simply because I knew we'd have a massive advantage if this thing is pretty cheap. So each machine is about $4,000 right now. A complex robot that were to do what I did in super, advanced ways might cost $30,000, $40,000.
Yeah.
So we use simple tricks like magnets to pick it up.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Is there a lot of availability for variance in size of the utensils? So if a restaurant has a little different size fork or spoon or knife, is there any allowance for variable size?
Yeah, that's one of our biggest advantages is we customize the cartridges that the utensils are put into to the silverware that you have.
Oh, that's
So
really
to work with us, you don't have to get brand new silverware or custom silverware that works with our machine. We've picked up 9.5-inch knives. We've picked up small knives, forks and spoons, even if they have like a cute design, a floral pattern on them. Because generally a restaurant owner would find a lot of satisfaction in customizing the silverware for their dining experience. And that's been a great positive for us, is that we will work with whatever silverware you have.
Yeah, you're plug and play. You're not making them change their behaviors as far as the utensils they're using or favoring. It's like, no, we'll make it work for what you have already.
Right, and some restaurants have lots of different knives, lots of different forks in their arsenal.
So I think you said some hospitals, are they using a uniform size fork, spoon, and knife throughout the hospital, or do they have like different sets? Because I imagine the number of patients they're serving that it might make sense that they have a little bit of a mixed bag there.
Generally, when you get up to a hospital or an airline or something that's, a very big corporation, they have a partnership with someone like Cisco.
It's just uniform.
Uniform, yes.
Makes it easier for you too. So then, okay, so now you're seeing the scalability of what you're doing.
Right.
What was the biggest technical challenge for you when you were solving the problem of rolling these utensils into a napkin and fixing a sticker onto it?
So it was fairly easy to deliver the napkin and deliver the knife, fork, and spoon to the rolling mechanism. But once the roll-up was completed, we have to seal it up with the custom sticker. So the hardest part for me was designing the custom sticker dispenser that dispenses one sticker each time.
Wow. Because if you're thinking about all the problems that you're solving, the last one on my list would have been the sticker, but it should have been the first because of the tactile quality of like removing it from the setting and then putting it on. Okay.
Thing we work with our sticker manufacturer to get a custom adhesion level so that when you open up the roll-up, it doesn't tear away the napkin as well.
Yeah.
So it's just strong enough in terms of adhesion to seal the roll shut, but you won't end up with a busted napkin.
So you mentioned when we're on our walk that workers are thinking about rolling these things and wrapping them and they having nightmares about it. Are you having nightmares about like trying to figure out little problems inside of this robot that will make your product better?
Most of the nightmares are in the past. We've successfully created a machine that works.
That's great.
But yeah, I did, 60-hour weeks for years just tinkering away at how can this work? Not just once, not just 25 times in a row, but 1,000 times in a row.
How big was V1? Was it like as large as this booth?
No, they've all been pretty much the same size, yeah.
Okay. So you started within a design framework of this needs to fit on a table.
Yeah, and I actually started, it's a classic startup story. I lived in the North End, and I took the rod out of my closet, and I built a sitting workspace and a standing workspace. So from the start of this, I was already limited in terms of the volume of the machine.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's a true story of innovation.
Yes, exactly.
That's really awesome.
But we know that footprint is very important in restaurants.
Yeah.
If it takes up too much space on the kitchen counter, then people aren't going to want to buy it.
Yeah.
So we really focused on making it as compact as possible.
All right, so that we get the robot as far as we can delve into that, because otherwise you're going to lose me on the mechanical workings of the thing. But and we have a little bit insight in the mission, the team. Let's talk about how this works economically. So are the customers paying for the unit up front and then they're done, or are you getting some sort of residual income from them from the robot doing the job of a worker?
We have two options that you can pay for. You can either kind of like leasing the machine, you can pay per roll-up, where we send custom stickers, and the stickers can even have your restaurant's logo on them. We're going to come out soon with a QR code on there that can scan directly to the menu.
Nice.
Or advertising. So you can either pay per roll up, essentially pay per sticker that we deliver, or you can buy the machine out front.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And then so in the which one is your preferred mode? Is it the leasing?
The leasing is a little better in terms of generating consistent revenue.
Right.
But it just makes more communication between the restaurants, like, hey, do you need more stickers, shipping, things like that. So I prefer, and we will keep shipping stickers if they buy the machine out directly. But it's a little easier to sell the machine, but from a business perspective, their reoccurring revenue is a good move there.
It's like a printer and ink.
Exactly.
That's a printer ink model. Very nice. Those are, I mean, they used to give those printers away for free at the end.
Yeah,
like
it's
it's
very
all the
similar.
money's in the ink.
Yep. Even
God,
laundry detergent, dishwasher detergent,
Yeah.
very similar business model as those.
So the other customers are buying them from you. Are they prepaying for the unit ahead of time?
That is an option we have, especially to kind of get things going in terms of building them. But generally they order it and we say, okay, maybe give us half the money up front and then half when it's delivered. That's a good move for us.
So Mike, if I have a restaurant, let's just say, and I want to use your technology, from the time that we signed an engagement, what's the turnaround time till I have a robot in my restaurant, keep making my life better, making my workers' lives better?
Where we're at now, it's about 3 weeks.
Okay.
But we're actually kind of pausing what we're doing now because we need to work with contract manufacturers and get these things built at mass manufacturing. So instead of one coming out every week and a half, just me building them, doing all the wiring, the coding, everything like that, we're trying to work with a factory, maybe in Mexico, maybe Canada, maybe Asia, something like that, that next level of business, so that we can actually sell 10 of them a day.
Because that's the scaling factor on this, right? It's like what's the unit economics for producing one of these things, getting it to the customer, what's the total cost of that? And then,
Right.
Profit.
And we're really proud because we made it to the next level.
Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So that's what's next right now. It sounds like, as you're scaling up, acquiring new customers, finding the right design and production partners that can execute when you have let's say 1,000 restaurants you're serving and 20 different hospitals and 50 cruise lines.
Correct. We can't keep up with the demand right now, so we need to work with someone that can maximize the volume that we put out. And we're also thinking of working with a product development team. I have 3 or 4 of them that I'm currently in contact with that will be able to create mass manufacturing plans.
Okay.
So that it's easier to produce these things.
And how do you envision your role inside of the company going forward? Because at a certain point, most of this sounds like it's going to be baked into the outcome here. You have a sales process that seems like it's getting pretty well defined. You have a lot of people coming to you. It's more inbound. You're having the manufacturing partner that's making these things, shipping them, getting them to their customers. I imagine you'll have like customer success teams that are taking care of this. After a certain point, like what are you thinking about as far as the scalability of what you're building
So I'm pretty much stretched as thin as I can be.
right now?
Working long days, working weekends. My goal would be to transition to work with the product development team.
Great.
Because I've been doing this for 3 years. I know every problem that needs to be perfected. I know all the solutions that could be better. Just generally, I think it would be an incredible help if I were part of the product development going forward, just because of everything I've learned so far. So instead of just handing off what I've done to a team, work with them exactly so that they don't stray down paths that I know are the wrong path, for example.
Right. So in this process, was the learning how to sell to customers, was that a piece that like you had to pick up a new skill?
Yes, I've had to work definitely on my business side of things, but my brother, he's the one that does all that. I do the engineering, he does the sales and marketing.
Are you picking up some tips from him?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, he's great. He has multiple master's degrees. He's been in corporate America for a while, so he's the one that does that.
There's an interesting little bump in the road that I see on early stage companies when they have to go in, especially with these types of companies where they're serving an audience that isn't really accessible via like cold email blast or cold calling. You have to go door to door. You have to walk in. You have to talk to the provider. You have to talk to the manager. You have to start getting in front of them and being in their space to sell.
Right.
And that, for some reason, is a big hurdle for a lot of founders to get over. But it seems like you and your brother just leapt right over that.
We did. We were, it was a very smart move to get that booth at the restaurant and bar show last year because that got us customers. And the thing about restaurant workers is a lot of times, since they work obscure hours and their jobs are so unique, restaurant people hang out with restaurant people. So word of mouth advertising has been great for us, where someone says, hey, I sent my servers home early tonight because I have this new machine. And someone says, oh, what is that machine? It has a snowball effect because we've penetrated into the industry. Same with hospitals. A lot of hospitals, they have multiple locations across the United States. So if we can prove ourselves in one, then it can snowball. But it was very hard to get the ball rolling in terms of walking into a restaurant or a diner and saying, hey, can I talk to your manager? They're busy. They leave me the business card. I email them. Yeah, that was very difficult.
Is part of the sales cycle then going to those expos and those shows and like setting up a booth and showing the people like where they're coming to you and seeing what you've built for them?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And do you see like longer term is a bigger vision of this like automating mundane tasks for service industry people?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is like this is the first problem you're solving for them. That they're probably going to come to you like, hey, we have this other problem that our workers hate doing. Can you take care of it?
Entirely, yeah.
And we don't know what that's going to be, but we know there's a bunch of these things that we're just going to be able. Okay,
that's the mission.
That's really interesting. So like, wow. So it's like taking the mundane task out of the service industry.
Entirely.
Okay.
It could even be folding pizza boxes or something like that.
Yeah. It's elevating service work to being just concentrating on the service itself, not on the other pieces that are necessary tasks for performing that service.
Because an owner doesn't want to pay their staff to create roll-ups. They want to pay their staff to service the customers.
Absolutely. And enhance the experience.
Yes.
You're paying for the experience. You're not paying for the food.
Right. And in a hospital, for example, there actually is no customer interface. The meals are shipped directly up to the patient's rooms with a roll-up on the side. So that has been incredible because they strictly have people rolling.
Oh my God.
Like one of the hospitals we work with, they have 2 people rolling for 12 hours a day to sometimes get 2,500 roll-ups up to the patient's rooms.
What?
Yeah.
That's a lot of carpal tunnel.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. Holy cow. Okay. So we've gone through a lot here so far. It sounds like you have a pretty clear vision of the future. What do you need? What's like the pressing need right now for you to make that leap into like scaling this thing up at a pace and a trajectory that puts you in a strong position to start solving other problems for service industry workers?
So the path for us is I've already met with 3 product development teams, 2 in Boston, 1 in California, and I'm meeting with another one in California actually today. We need to piece together funding and product development team.
Okay.
And if we can pull that off, then we will have the scalability that we need to create a business around it. So we've already had some hot leads in terms of funding, especially in the industry. It's very beneficial for us to stay in the industry.
Yeah.
Like for example, my brother, he was in the industry. He knows what the industry needs. If the funding that we get can come from the industry as well,
it's a strong signal for, hey, this is all industry approved.
Right, because people know, okay, this will work. So if anyone wants to reach out and, join the competition of who will actually fund this venture, they can reach out to us. But generally next would be getting a few $100,000 to work with a product development team and then getting a factory to build them. And from there, it's pretty much home free. Just, create a business team out of it.
And then you're going to be at expo after expo showing this off. So
Yes.
yeah, so you keep that wait list long.
Exactly.
The great problem to have.
Yeah.
Is
not bad at all.
It's better than the inverse, where you're chasing people to want the thing you've created. You created something that they desperately want and need.
Right.
And now it's how do we build these things? How do we get it to them fast enough and create a sustainable business model that allows us to keep making money and to start solving other problems for our customers. Yep. That's really awesome. Yep. It's it kind of reminds me a little bit of the dignity that Mike Rowe talks about in Dirty Jobs, where he's like he speaks so highly of the people that are doing the jobs that we take for granted. Absolutely. And when I was listening to you talk just now, I was like, man, you're like a different version of Mike Rowe. You're helping, you're serving the people that serve others, and like you're making their lives just a little bit better. So we're almost at time, and so I want to give you the opportunity to look into the camera and tell our audience like what you need. Say, hey, make a big ask, like here's what we're doing, here's where you can support us. just look right over there and just say, hey, make a your pitch to the audience. What is it that you want out of this? What could we do to help you?
Sure. So it's been an absolute dream come true to get to the stage we're at, from bootstrapping and working with very small team of engineers. Where we're at now, like I said, is finding the right product development team who hopefully has been in the industry or has designed food service machines already, and essentially fund this business, fund the maximum amount of demand that we can. So we would need about $300,000 to work with the product development team. And then from there, we would need to work with a factory. But generally, like I said, we already have some hot leads in terms of who will actually fund this. But if anyone out there is looking for an incredible opportunity for a technology that will truly revolutionize an industry, we're talking hundreds of millions of meals a day across the country and across the world, jump right in, because this opportunity is massive.
It's incredible. You're on I think it's a very awesome mission that you're on elevating the work that we take for granted and the workers we take for granted. I love it. I can't wait to see where Napspin goes. I can't wait to see what you do next, what other problems you solve for people. And I'm so appreciative of you coming in today. I really had a great time talking with you and learning more about what you're building.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much.